brass and copper are often confused, but copper's that rather pink-looking metal. Our coins are made out of it. Brass is the one that looks like gold, and it's a very beautiful metal. And because it doesn't rust, it's often used in nameplates. Doctors' surgeries have brass plates outside them, and brass ornaments are made of it. Well, brass is actually a mixture of copper and another metal, and they both respond differently to acid, which means that you can take an offcut of brass like this, polish it up with steel wool, and make your own little personalised brass nameplate. You do it with acid, and here's how. It's very easy to do, but overall will take you about a week. First of all, you have to protect that brass surface from the acid, all but the part that you want eaten away, your name. So you spray it with paint. Here we go. Any old drig of spray can will do, doesn't matter what the colour is, and if you haven't got a spray can, painting it on with a brush helps, but that's probably easier. Well, that's now runny paint, and it wouldn't do to write in, so I'm going to push that to one side and bring in one that I did about an hour ago. And the paint on this one has dried, not so that it's dry to the touch, but so that it's actually sticky rather than runny. And I can now write my name in that, or somebody else's name, and it will stay there. And that's what I want to do, so the acid can get through that name to the brass, but not through the paint, which will be left on the rest of it. Well, to do the engraving, make yourself a stick like this. Get an ice cream stick or something like that, and just carve it into a chisel point. Not a very sharp point, but a nice chisel-y sort of pen nib shape. Take a while to do, but it will come up like that. And that's the best sort for writing with because it makes broad lines in one direction and fine lines in another. So here we go. We'll start to engrave this plate. I'm not going to use my name. I'm going to use one which is a bit longer. Let's try James. Here we go. You see that it's scratching through the paint like that, broad on the downstrokes and fine on the cross strokes. And I can write the whole name across like that. And you want to make sure that it really does go through to the brass, because if it doesn't, the acid can't get there and it won't do the engraving that you want. Well, when it's like that, it should be ready for the acid. Here it goes. You can see the brass glinting where I've taken the paint away. And at that stage, it goes into a screw-top jar. Now be very careful that it goes in writing side uppermost. Here we go. Yep, it did, first time. And it's sitting there so that the acid can get onto that writing and chew it away. Well, for acid, we start with vinegar, which is an acid, but not a very strong one. It doesn't do much to copper and brass on its own, but you pour in about that much. New vinegar is the best if you can get it. To make it a better acid for our purposes, we add salt, and that turns vinegar into hydrochloric acid, which is a bit more powerful. It's safe enough, but it'll actually have an impact on that brass. Put a fair bit on, and then cover it up and leave it for a week, or until the paint starts to break down, which is what's happened in this one that I set up about a week ago. Once that happens, of course, you may as well take it out, because if the paint's breaking up, the acid will get to the whole plate and muck it up. So we'll tip off that acid and take that plate out and see how it's gone. Here we go. There goes the acid. You can keep that for later use or tip it down the sink. And if I tip that plate out, you can see that the paint's breaking up there, but it's still not dry. It's been underwater all that time. So we simply do what we do with any oil paint and take it off with terps. Because it hasn't set, it should come off very easily. Turpentine will rub it away. And there it goes. And I think you can see already there that that's really pretty clearly started eating into the brass, and it's made its impact. That'll take a while to clean, so let's look at one that's already finished. And here it is. Don't clean it up too much. That's a shallow etching, and steel wool or polish would knock it off. So polish it with the terps and the cloth, put 4 corner holes in, and you've got your own personalised brass plate.